We had to go up on the roof of the YMCA and do calisthenics. And then they put us on a bus and took us out to Love Field. That's where we went to school. It was the best time I ever had in the service. Come back and you could go anywhere you wanted in the city, and we were right downtown anyway. On weekends, the Y didn't serve food, so they lined us up and gave us, I think it was $1.50 each, to buy our own meals at any restaurant we chose for on Saturday and Sunday. That was kind of neat too. At a dine and dance place, they had a lot of them in Dallas at the time, where they had a little band and a bunch of booths and a dance floor, and they served beer. So we were there on a Sunday afternoon, and I saw this pretty girl across the floor from me, and I smiled at her and she smiled back, and so I went over and asked her to dance, and we danced. And her sister was married to a doctor and divorced, and with her divorce settlement she got a brand new car. It was a 1942, which was one of the last cars that were made before the war, you know. And I had a tall, good-looking buddy, Rodney Marino from Louisiana, with a real nice drawl and everything. And this girl that I asked to dance introduced me to her sister, and I introduced her to Rodney Marino, and by gosh, I think she really fell for him, because they came down every night to the Y and picked us up and took us out riding and stuff like that. And we went back to San Antonio again, where we trained in the San Antonio Air Depot. So I got 3 schools out of it. Pretty soon one day they said, well, we're shipping out. The guys that were married or had girlfriends, they all came down and see us off and put us on a train again with winter uniforms. Took us to New York City, to Camp Shanks, where they took our winter outfits off us again and gave us summer outfits, which seemed awful strange too. And they put us eventually out to Staten Island and got on this great big ship. There's 5,000 men on there. And SS Uruguay, I remember it still. Great big liner. It was a luxury liner. It had in all the ballrooms and stuff on there, they had bunks, cots, hundreds of them in a room. And no, they had, it wasn't bunks, it was long tables for eating. We slept down the hold on 4 high bunks and we were on for 31 days from New York to Australia, Brisbane, Australia. 1 canteen of water a day, but we got coffee, of course, it was our meal. and 2 meals a day, and you stood up to eat, and we had to wear our life jackets all the time, so it was just barely room between the aisles there to eat. But it wasn't much to eat anyway. Scrambled eggs and dehydrated potatoes. Yeah, we got 2 meals a day, but only 1 canteen of water. But I had I loaned money to a guy every payday. He was loaned come and get about $5, I think, from me. And of course he got in a poker game and lost it all right away. So he had to have trouble paying me back. But he was in charge of the water on the ship. He filled the canteens and marked you off your name or something. I can't remember what to. So he slipped me an extra canteen of water. So I got, because I was a water drinker in those days. Well, we had air cover and we had a destroyer and a cruiser. There's a convoy of three ships, and there's 5,000 men on our ship, so probably equal on the rest of them. So they had, as long as we were along the east coast, they had air cover. But when they got down into we had air cover and boat or Navy cover. But when we got down into the anyway, that was the one really scary moment. One night the engine shut off. You could, on our ship you could hear this all the time, and everything got dead quiet, and we were waiting for a torpedo to enter the ship. It was a dangerous place for German U-boats were sinking a lot of ships down there. But it didn't happen. So next morning we were clear again, got in the canal. The canal was, this ship was just about as big as one that could go through the canal. It wasn't much to go on either side. They said it was 33,000 ton vessel. I can remember that. My job on the on the trip overseas was to slice bread. They had a machine. They put a loaf in and then turn the crank and slice up the bread. And there's 5,000 men can eat a lot of bread. We had baskets just like laundry baskets, and we'd fill a laundry basket up and take it out, and by that time that one was empty, and we'd bring it back and grind out another. And they kept baking, I think, round the clock. They had a little room with 4 walls, and the bakers would put the fresh baked bread on one route, and then we'd be taking it off the next. So it's a circular thing. But they had quite a bit of bread because that's the only thing that was any good. They powdered eggs and dehydrated stuff. It was terrible food. And we had to stand up and we ate at long benches, and we had to wear our life jackets all the time. And there just was enough room between the 2 tables for you to to stand that, your life jacket would be touching the guy's life jacket that was behind you at the next table. 31 days. Landed in Brisbane, Australia. To Brisbane, everybody wanted a shower. We hadn't had a shower for 31 days, you know. And a few guys, we were camped at a racetrack there, just because there was room to put us down, and we gathered straw and put in our mattress covers. So it was cold. It was in Australia. The seasons are just opposite, you know. When it's summer here, it's winter down there, and it was real cold. But the straw in our mattresses helped to keep the cold out. But a few guys tried to take a shower, but it was so hot with cold water out in the open. They gave up on that. Well, we took a narrow gauge railroad all the way from Brisbane up to Townsville, Australia, which is from practically the south part to the north part. We were up to where they called it the gateway to the tropics, or something like that. Townsville. There was a small town that had been, the only people that are there were women. All the able-bodied men had been conscripted by England to fight in England's war, you know. And they'd I think they decided they're going to try and hold the southern half of Australia if it came to that. And it would have come to that. The Battle of the Coral Seas, I think it was, that destroyed the big armada that was coming to Australia. But we had a big air base there. We did a lot of modifications of B-25s and B-24s. I stayed there about maybe a year. I had one visitor, Knut Lee, came to see me. Knut had sunk a Japanese submarine all by himself, and he got a 3-day pass for it. And so he decided he was going to come and see me. So he flew to Australia, and he figured I was in the good part of Australia, which is the south part. So he flew to Adelaide or Brisbane or something south of Brisbane, and found out where my APO number was, and it was way up north. So he had to hitchhike with an Australian bomber that was going north. And I remember he said they put him in the bomb bay, and they flew so high that they had oxygen masks on up in the cockpit, and Bill was suffocating down there.
Oh no.
He got up there, and I can remember he said, I told those boys they better get this thing down or to a lower level, or you're going to bring in a corpse. So,
Good grief.
so I guess they did. We got to see each other about an hour, and then he had to go home again. He had reserved a flight with another bomber going south, I guess so. But he, next day, a naval officer downtown Townsville called me and said that Knut Lee had left a gift for me there, that I was supposed to come down and get it. And when I got there, they handed me a fifth of hospital brandy. I can remember it was called hospital brandy. Bill never took a drink in his life, you know. He knew that I liked the drink, so I opened the bottle and took one drink and passed it around, and it came back empty, so that didn't last long. We all got a taste.
So how long were you in Australia?
I think I was in Australia about a year.
And what did you do there? What did you do there?
Well, we repaired airplanes, or modified a lot of them. See, you know, when they start an assembly line, they put these planes together, and by the time they get them done, why, they probably found a new thing that they need. So, but they can't break up the assembly line, so they send the planes out, and they send instructions with it or whatever. I know, for instance, the bomb sight on the B-25 was, they had one bomb sight then, and they found out that they weren't very accurate or something, so they needed a new bomb sight. So we had a instrument division that put the bomb sight in, but we had to prepare the site for the bomb, drill the holes and make the brackets and stuff to put it in. Another thing they did to the B-25, so that was a good airplane. They did everything under the sun to that, but they had, I think they had 450 caliber machine guns in the nose, and we put what they called package guns. We had 2 50 calibers on each side of the plane, riveted them onto the fuselage with the projecting the fire ahead. And the result of that was that the percussion from the firing blew some of the rivets out, and in the engine nacelle and also in the fuselage. So they decided they had to do something about that. So I was